Hello, how are you? Thank you for joining me today. And I have a special guest with me today, one of my dear friends, Dr. Adriana Krywiak from Integrative Health Solutions in North Olmsted. I'm RaNae, your host. This is Real Rich Revolution Radio, and we are going to be going over the status of healthcare today and where it's going. And she's going to share with us some of her insiders of what she's seeing coming about as being an insider to the healthcare industry. She has been a licensed doctor in her own practice, even, and that's I applaud you. That is amazing that you and I know that you
Thanks.
worked very hard for that, and I am proud of you. So yeah, so without any further ado,
Thank you.
like let's just dive right into it.
Hi, everybody. My name is Dr. Adriana Krywiak. I go by Dr. K because it's easier. And I am a foot and ankle surgeon by training. So I'll go over just a little bit about me really quick. I'm a foot and ankle surgeon by training. I did that for, 11 years. I did a 3-year residency. I did, 4 years of medical school and then pre-med. And I was in there for quite a long time. And there's a lot that I learned in that progress. But as I went along, I just noticed that people's problems were not being solved. And if you've ever been or are in the state right now where you're going to a doctor recurrently and your pain isn't being resolved, your stomach aches aren't being resolved, you're getting more medications, the tests are all coming back normal, the labs are all coming back normal, and you're just like, I'm frustrated. They're telling me to go to this doctor, tell me to go to this doctor. They're telling me I need to now see a psychologist because it's in my head. All these things start happening. We're not really truly looking at the cause. And as things progressed, I started to say, I need to do a little bit more because I'm not really serving clients and they're not getting solutions. And it's getting frustrating. Even though I was dealing more with, foot and leg pain, there was all these other things that were coming up. So I stumbled upon functional medicine, and functional medicine looks more at the root causes of conditions. So looking at why you have high blood pressure, why do you have neuropathy and your legs are burning and tingling? Why are you getting the stomach pain that isn't resolving? All these things. So I decided to get certified in that. Then I went on to quantum biofeedback therapy, which is an FDA registered device that looks into the body to actually give me clues as to what's going on. So it's far beyond what's going on with like an MRI or blood work. And I got certified in that as well. And then, I'm like, I got to deal with people's emotions because people came to me and foot pain and all these things, but I heard all about the mother-in-law and all the stress at work. And I'm like, there is a much larger component to somebody's life. We are not just these bodies walking around. We have stressful thoughts, we have work, we have family situations. According to the CDC guidelines, 90%, and you can look this up for yourselves, guys, 90% of conditions are actually caused due to stressful events, hands down. And I've seen this across the board. So as time went on, I started to integrate this into my practice and look more into what's causing people's issues. Because if we get rid of some of the, what I call energetic stress energy management, and there's techniques and tools I use to do that. And we utilize things like functional medicine, looking more at the root cause. And there's various ways I do that as well. Then we can eradicate or the disease completely or improve it to great degrees. And then you're not going on and on and on. So this is just a bit about me. Now I've left traditional medicine, but I do come from both ends. So I understand both ends. I still run blood work. I still do all those things, but now I function as under my integrative health management title. So a functional medicine doctor, quantum biofeedback therapist, and energy medicine technologies that I use, those sorts of things. And they are, I can tell you, quite a bit more superior than, your traditional medicine has its place, guys. You need traditional medicine. Your sugars are 400. I can't get that down really fast. But once we get that down, let's look at how we can work to eradicate that condition or improve it so you might not need medication. And this kind of leers into or views us into what we're going to talk about today and where healthcare is right now. COVID has affected a lot of different things. And if you want to chime in, RaNae, on your thoughts on
Yeah.
that and
You
what you're
mentioned
seeing.
you mentioned this quantum biofeedback machine, and
Mhm,
that it helps you look more into the body. Do
mhm.
a lot of like the normal your family practitioners have that machine?
No, there are very few people in the area around me that have it. Probably about 15. It's not really well advertised or known for certain reasons, but it is an FDA registered device. Now, I want to clarify the difference between FDA approved and FDA registered. When something is FDA approved, it has to go through a rigorous process of years and years and years. Like a medication is FDA approved. It takes 12 years of study for a medication to be FDA approved. Same
Really?
with vaccines. It goes through 11 to 12 years of NIH approval to deem a medication, animal studies, et cetera, before a medication is actually said, okay, you can use this on humans. Not to say that it's
Wow,
always safe,
that is
but
so
and
interesting.
safe enough.
Knows that. Yeah,
Yeah,
nobody knows that.
nobody knows that. Most people don't know that. You're hearing more about it with vaccines because vaccines, it's the same thing. It's 5 to 10 years of study on animals to see how animals are reacting before you put it into humans. Now that has been altered in our current state with, as you know, the vaccines that are coming out now, and we're getting a little off topic, but the vaccines that are coming out now are not and have not under the specific COVID vaccine has not undergone a 5 to 10 year long study. They have done previous studies on virus influenza vaccines, as you know. Those have been done on animals, and there's various results, which we're not going to get into here. That's not the topic of conversation. But this particular vaccine has not undergone that study. We are in what's called an emergency state to get this out to people because there's a pandemic and emergency going on. So
But that's
um,
still dangerous, and still you should proceed with caution.
yes, yeah, we don't have the studies to provide that at this time. We will as we go along. We don't know what those results will be yet.
Right.
But yes, the back to the device, it is FDA registered, meaning the FDA has looked at it, said, okay, it's put its stamp on it. This is a safe item in the area of a medical, or it's a class 2 to class 1 medical device, meaning it's basically FDA has put its stamp of approval on it.
Right.
So I just wanted to clarify that difference because I have to clarify that difference. So yeah, it's a looking glass into the body to kind of see what's going on, give me some clues as to where somebody's body is headed, what their nutrient levels are, and then I do subsequent studies to maybe some blood studies, some stool studies to see further on what's going on. And environmental toxins come up, pesticides come up, all sorts of things come up. And then we do some studies to see what particular ones so we can start addressing those things. So it's a really phenomenal device that helps with anxiety, it helps with depression, it helps with addictions, it helps with absolutely anything. It's a phenomenal device. So I do that in conjunction with my work.
Is it big?
No, it's like a computer, and you just get, and if anybody wants to see, let's see, I don't know if I have a picture of it. I'm thinking if I do have a picture of it on my website, which is www.ihmohio.com. If you go under the tab Biofeedback Therapy, there's a picture of what it looks like and how it's arranged. So you see comfortably, it's a computer that just sends a signal to your body, and your body responds with, hey, this is what I need, this is what's going on, to a degree enough that we can get some clues. It's not a fix-all, it's a clue as to what's going on inside the system when we can't find solutions.
Wow.
So yeah,
Okay. Yeah, because I was picturing
really cool.
something like a stand-up tanning bed or something.
No, it's not quite that crazy. It's actually quite comfortable.
That's
But yeah,
So does it
so
show
this is
inflammation and stuff?
inflammation will come up, all of those things will come up, but we have to look at why are you having the inflammation. So often, here's an example of somebody has acid reflux, or their stomach doesn't feel good. You go to your doctor, you spend 10-15 minutes in the office, okay, here's your prescription for Nexium, and you go home.
Right.
Why are you having the acid reflux? Is it truly acid reflux, or is it low stomach acid? Those symptoms are very similar, and often that's not looked at. So as we get older, we don't produce as much hydrochloric acid. And so the symptoms start to become very similar because we start to produce other acids, such as ammonia gases, things that get into your bloodstream because you're not digesting the food properly. So these are the things that I take a lot of time to look at. And this is where this wasn't around, I'd say maybe 30 years ago. This is functional medicine is really starting to increase because people are not often getting the answers. And I completely understand. I've been a physician. In that realm, I've spent 10 minutes because I have 4 people waiting in rooms. And it's no narc on regular physicians. They are working hard. They're even more overwhelmed now because of COVID. A lot of my colleagues are not even taking on new patients because it's so much right now and everybody's so worried. So the system of healthcare is starting to shift and change. But what I wanted to really touch on, RaNae, is the costs of healthcare are going up. I've seen various Facebook posts I just saw one the other day on somebody that has a spinal issue, and every time she gets an MRI, it's $1,800. And then, they want this MRI every 3 months. She's like, I can't afford that. Nor are they providing her a solution for what is causing the spinal degradation. So these are things that are occurring now. And insulin costs, I was looking at something the other day. Insulin for some folks is getting up to $750 a month. And you're on that for a long time.
That's a mortgage payment.
Yeah. Yeah. And the cost of medications that I'm seeing that I've prescribed in the past are starting to increase like crazy. And I'm hearing it from people, they don't know how they're going to afford this. I have other friends that are struggling with depression, they're struggling with addiction. And they said, we have spent so much money we've racked up a bill over the course of the year just trying to see a psychologist or somebody. And I don't know how much further along they are, and they have to drop off because they can't afford the balances that are happening. Some of the insurance covers everything. If you have an insurance that covers 100%, kudos to you. A lot of people do not have that luxury. Some people's insurance doesn't cover hardly anything. Some people don't have insurance at all, and they're struggling. So then it's like, okay, let's look at the root cause. So maybe you don't need to keep going down this path. Diabetes, for instance, can be reversed majority of the time, unless you have some anatomical, structural defective issues in your pancreas. But a lot of times it can be reversed, and we can work to get you off the insulin, and then you don't have to pay that anymore. Do you have to pay a little bit more upfront? Yes. But if you think about paying $750 for insulin, or around anywhere between $300 to $700 a month for the rest of your life, how long are you going to last on that? Unless you got a great job, because there's multiple ways to get these things reversed. And so where is healthcare going with all these things? The cost of everything is starting to increase. With COVID, people are losing jobs. They're losing their insurances. So how are they going to start paying for all these medications that they need? This is starting to cause depression. It's causing anxiety. It's causing even more stress, which is going to internalize in your body, causing more conditions. So it becomes a vicious cycle of trying to resolve the situation. You're given a medication. Doctors are overwhelmed. So you're in and out of the offices, and you get a prescription and you go, and then you can't afford your prescription. Then and you're stressed, and then you're even more depressed, and it becomes this vicious cycle. So let's stop the chaos. And I work with people to start looking at the cause and cleaning that up. Is it going to take a few months? Yes. But in the long run, hey, you're going to save in the long run. I have this saying that says, are you going to pay now, or are you going to pay forever and down the road? Are you going to pay later with your health?
I've never.
So let's clean it all up now. Let's work on cleaning it up now so that you don't have to keep paying. Because as time goes, guys, the things that I foresee coming are getting a little challenging. I'm not sure how the new healthcare administration is going to handle all this. We have a lot of stress going on in the world right now with COVID, new problems forming, new conditions forming for people. And how are people going to manage with what's ahead?
Right.
So I'd love your thoughts too.
I mean, it really is a downward spiral. they kind of have people in a spot. I do feel that we're so busy and busy just with life, keeping us running, that we're not even paying attention to our bodies. And then
Correct.
a lot of things, people have gotten accustomed to their diet, and they can't even tell that their diet is killing them.
Yeah.
But in 2019, I did a 14-day fast, which was just
Wow.
no food.
Kudos.
Right. I just used isotonics, nutraceuticals to still have nutrients and stuff. And then I started to slowly add back in. I know I started with like tomatoes and cilantro and like pickles, like just vegetables, and then went back to, but you could tell when I started to reintroduce different things, different foods, how they affected me. And I also was noticing, a lot of times whenever I would eat like food, like normal, I would have to like blow my nose, like it would activate my sinuses. And I was like, wow, that's not good. That's like being allergic to eating. That's really, and it happened before the fast.
Yeah.
Just I noticed it more after the fast because I didn't feel that way during the fast.
Yeah, intermittent fasting and prolonged fasting are really great ways to give your body a break from the stuff we pile in. And I think one of the biggest points now that I want to make is now is the time. I know it's challenging, guys. I know, and let's talk maybe a little bit more on stress and anxiety and depression, because that's a whole other topic we can spend a lot of time on. Maybe that would be the next topic. We'll
Yeah,
touch on it here, but
definitely.
now is really the time to clean the body up, because the immune system is your key factor with the COVID.
Right.
There's so many aspects that I've heard stories from far right, far left, but Dr. K, young people are getting sick and they're dying. But Dr. K, I've lost my mother-in-law and my brother's sister's husband died and they were perfectly healthy. They were perfectly healthy. We don't know perfect. What is the definition? The definition of health is social, physical, mental. It's all those parts and pieces. And you don't know what that person was eating. You don't know how their internal system was working. These people
Right.
may have never gone to the doctor, don't know if they have a heart murmur, don't know if they have genetic issues, don't know if their stomach's not working. But now is the time to really clean yourself up, because that's going to be your strongest point with COVID, is cleaning your body and making it healthy and detoxing. Do you want to pay now or do you want to pay later? Do you want to risk that? And it was interesting when COVID happened. Remember when the toilet paper thing happened? When I went to the store, Duncan Hines mix was off the shelves, flour off the shelves, cheese off the shelves, pizza stuff off the shelves, beans and tacos, empty shelves, produce completely full. Fascinating. I'm like, what are people making at home? Pizzas? That is not what you want to eat right now. And I get it. It tastes good. And I'm not saying never, but your body eat the push of organic. There's a reason why that's happening. And that's how you're going to heal your body. And a lot of people have resistance towards that. They don't know how to cook. They maybe want to eat healthy, don't know how to eat healthy. Now is the time. YouTube has a plethora of places to look that up, how to cook healthy, getting recipes, even cleaning your diet up. That's what's going to boost your immune system. That's what's going to give you a fighting chance against COVID, because guys, it's not over. There's going to be mutations. Viruses mutate, they get resistant, all these things happen. It's not over, and the vaccine's not going to cure you. I want to clarify that. A lot of people have the misconception that you take the vaccine and I'm done. Oh man, I'm safe. You're not. The vaccine is only, and if it's even effective, against giving you some antibodies to potentially fight it. It does not mean that you're not going to get COVID. It does not mean that. It is not a cure to a condition. It is a potential antibody builder that maybe will put you in a position that if you get COVID, you might not die from it, which majority of people don't die from it. They've extrapolated these numbers. And I know it doesn't seem that way. And to the average person that maybe has not had the opportunity to go to medical school, which I am blessed to have that opportunity, to have been in labs, to study pathology, to understand how this works, you're just being told things by a medical professional on TV. And I get it. I get it. You know, what else are you going to accept? This is what you hear. You're into accounting, you don't know medicine. So it's like, okay, this is what they say. I'm going to go by this because this is a doctor telling me this. But there's a lot of misinformation out there, a lot. And so please understand the vaccine, we do not have studies. We are really experimenting on a human basis to see how we're going to react, and they're going to see how this plays out. The virus in the meantime is mutating, and there's going to be more different variations of it. So we'll see what comes with that, because what might happen is they give the vaccine and the virus mutates, and oh, now we have a different mutation of the COVID-19. We're going to call it something else. Now we need to come up with a different vaccine. And then we're in a vicious cycle of trying to come up with another vaccine or an antidote, or you got to take a third dose. So where does it end? So you're potentially, we don't really know yet how well somebody's antibodies are going to react or build to this, but it doesn't preclude you from getting COVID again. I already know 2 people that have, they're friends of friends that have gotten the vaccine and have gotten COVID again. So it's not a cure-all. So
this is probably the greatest blessing that could come from this, is that people take charge of their health.
yes,
And just getting
yes,
the most optimal health that they can, and the fittest that they've ever been in their life, because it's kind of going to be like a battle of the fittest. And the health
it is.
you can keep yourself
Mhm.
and keep yourself out of this, what potentially could be a very large monthly reoccurring forever healthcare cost bill. You might as well take the chance to do and cut out what you can now, such as like McDonald's, because if you
Oh yeah.
notice, all the regular restaurants are closed, and all the big manufactured
Mm.
processed foods are all the ones that have never lost a beat. I mean, I don't think that they closed down a McDonald's for one day. And we all
No.
know that, right? Isn't that kind of
Yeah.
weird? Like,
Yeah.
very weird. And I just, it's time for us to maybe take charge, because you just can't trust even someone else
Yep.
with your body or with
Now
your
is the
health.
time for you to take charge. Your doctors, guys, they're working their butts off. They're overwhelmed. They're doing the best they can. And they don't often have the hour to sit with you to go, what are you eating? Let's look. What are your medications? Let's look. What's the cause of your high blood pressure? Maybe it's just a magnesium deficiency. Sometimes magnesium plays a huge role in high blood pressure, that and stress. And sometimes just getting a nutrient test and seeing what your levels of your minerals are and what you're deficient in, and just supplementing those, and things change. That your doctors right now, just they don't have the time. We weren't taught these things in medical school. We weren't taught about nutrition much, hardly at all. Homeopathics weren't talked about. So in Europe, homeopathics are used as a front line. They're right up there with prescriptions. So a lot of times they will use what's called a homeopathic, which is a natural agent, versus a prescriptive agent to curtail your condition. Here in America, we don't do that, which to me is fascinating. So, if you're in a lot of pain, let's look at why, because there's a reason. You could just have a lot of inflammation that needs to be decreased. And there's so many different ways to do that. But the doctors right now are absolutely overwhelmed with everybody coming in with, oh, I have a cough, I have a fever, oh my gosh. And so they're bombarded because people are scared. And so that's the other piece, is the fear that's going on creates an energetic force, so to speak. So when everybody's thinking about something, we actually, and you can feel it in your body, it's like a heaviness. When you put a lot of energy on something, and maybe we'll do a talk about what energy really is, and I'm not necessarily talking about the energy like I wake up and I have a lot of energy. Yes, that's kind of it, but when we put a lot of thought into something, it creates a field, as I will call it. And the more we think it, the bigger it becomes. An example of this would be if, say, this COVID thing happened, but your newscasters went on and said, hey guys, we're heading into flu season. There's this new virus that's going around. It's kind of going to be a nasty flu season. So make sure you take your vitamin C and take extra caution. And that's it. Think of the difference between that to, hey guys, it's COVID-19. It's a killer. It's killing people. You notice the difference? And so that's how it was presented. That's what people know. And that's what people take on. And so we think about it. And oh my gosh, I touched something. Am I going to get COVID? We really start to embellish it in the head versus, okay, it's a nasty flu season. And we don't give it that energy. We don't embellish and engage so much around it. H1N1 was around, I don't know how many years ago that happened. Can't even remember. It was like 8 years ago, 9 years ago. And that was almost just as nasty. I know 2 people that had it and were very, very sick in the hospital with it. And they are still recovering and have repercussions from it. We didn't walk around with masks then. We didn't, yes, this is a virulent virus. And yes, it exists. I'm not saying it doesn't. That's not my point. But my point is we give it a lot of energy, we give it a lot of thought processing. And when that happens, it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. And so then we sometimes create a little more anguish around it that's then needed. That's not to say that we don't have to be cautious. That is not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is now more than ever is the time to say, okay, my immune system's kind of weak. I'm really afraid. I have these other conditions. What can I do to improve these conditions? And let's look into the sources, because I'm on 12 different medications. And do I really need to be on 12 different medications? Is that necessary?
Oh, right. Because I actually had a friend of mine recently had said to me that when the commercial of the side effects is actually longer than what it's treating, you probably don't want to take that. A lot of different medications,
Yeah.
they all have
Yeah.
but
Side effects.
I want to go back to you were talking about in Europe that they have a pharmaceutical option and a homeopathic option,
Mhm.
both
Correct.
kind of like as equal as like a generic and that the homeopathic is a natural type
Correct.
of nutraceutical it would kind of fall into.
Yeah, you can equate it with a nutraceutical.
Yeah. Do you think
Yeah.
do you think that America, which is supposed to be the greatest country in the world, do you think that the suppression of homeopathic medicine is bureaucratic?
Well, it's there's a lot of money to be made with medicine. I will leave it at that. And I am not discrediting it. It's great for acute cases,
Okay.
meaning something happens and your sugars are 400. Homeopathics don't work quite that quickly. They take a few days. Sometimes they can take a month. Just because they're more gentler and in certain cases you can give people things, but majority of the time homeopathics take a little bit longer. If somebody's sugar or blood pressure are super high because they've had some sort of incident or they've been in an accident and you need to curtail their pain because you need to relocate their shoulder, then yes, these are times where you may need a pharmaceutical agent because it acts quickly. But for longer term use, let's get to the cause. Let's get to the root cause of why something is happening. And I was on a podcast this morning talking with my colleague Hank we talked about Europe and we talked about weight loss, which was a great topic, and how in America, the difference between Americans and Europeans and how they process food, around the stress level around food and how we eat on the run. Europe doesn't do that. You sit down, you enjoy the experience. When you are under stress, your body processes food completely differently. So it's very important to eat in a relaxed state, in a joyful state, and enjoy that time so your body can slowly digest that food properly. When you are under stress and you're running and you have a burger in your mouth and then somebody hits you, that the body has now assimilated that as a stressful event, and you may even develop an allergy to the food that you're eating, because anytime you eat it, the body goes, oh, she was hit, that was a trauma, this is triggering a mental thing. So in America, we eat so much processed sugar. And guys, if there's anything I can tell you, as challenging as it may be, and I'm not talking about the little teaspoon of sugar that you put in your coffee, but even that, I would suggest stevia or monk fruit sweetener. That's the most healthiest thing you can use. But on average, we eat so much processed sugar. How much Starbucks do you drink a day? Get a bag and put about 2 tablespoons of sugar in a Ziploc bag every single day, 3 tablespoons. And at the end of the week, tell me how that bag is, because that's what's going to happen with Starbucks. Don't get me wrong. Love Starbucks, tastes great, but people that drink it every single day, people that have coffee every single day, people that eat chips and McDonald's and all these things every single day, you have no idea what you're doing inside your system. And the challenge becomes is people hear this and they're like, yeah, Dr. K, shut up. I'm going to continue eating my food. Okay. Are you going to pay for it? Are you going to do a little bit of work now? Or are you going to pay down the road? Because what's going to happen down the road somewhere, 5 years, 10 years, who knows when, you're going to develop some rash and you're going to go to the doctor and they're not going to be able to figure it out. And here's this cream and this cream and this cream. And I know people that they're like, I've gone to all the Cleveland Clinic doctors. They cannot figure out what's going on with me. And I'm like, okay, you drink a lot of wine? Yep, been drinking it for years. Been doing this for years, been eating processed food. I find all these things. I'm like, you need a major detox. Once we detox your liver, these rashes will stop happening. And this is how these things work. So now is the time really to clean up your system. Your immune system cannot function with all this processed stuff.
Yeah.
And this is how people get sick, and they never make the association to, oh, hey, my rash may be connected to a sluggish liver, an improperly functioning GI system, your spleen, your thymus, all these things that are never looked at. So,
well,
if
the doctors don't even look at that to try and correct the situation, how is a consumer who's not a doctor going to put that? Maybe
they don't.
just need to kind of get the thought process out there that if your body is showing up with a rash or something, that it's your body telling you something wrong and that you just need to figure out what it is. And it's not always just that we shouldn't just blindly just go pharmaceutical, but maybe,
Yeah,
hey,
right.
maybe I should cut out sugar, or, you know, I'm not going to say coffee because awake right now.
Coffee is not necessarily a bad thing, guys. Just get organic. That's the one little piece I will tell you, because coffee is one of the most pesticided foods there is. And pesticides will affect your thyroid and they will affect your liver. And this is where you start developing problems. So just get organic coffee. That's all.
Well,
Just
wait
buy
a minute. That's going to have to be a whole topic. We're going to have to do a whole topic on that, because I've never heard that coffee is the most pesticide spraying.
Mm-hmm. It also is a good thing. There's studies on coffee and it being a good thing too. There's multiple antioxidants in it, but when you get the pesticides and all those things, then it makes it not so great.
Right.
But
and
yeah, that's a whole separate topic.
I don't ever use like sugar. I don't ever just put sugar in my coffee, but I'll use honey sometimes.
Yeah, if you're going to use honey's great too. So long as you're not fully diabetic, you're not using a ton of it, but I'd rather use honey or monk fruit sweetener that are, more holistic and healthy for you, and you're not overloading your system with the white sugar. And that's a whole topic.
I'm guilty of the cream and I'm guilty of the whipped cream.
We have our nuances. It's very difficult, I think, for somebody to wipe their slate clean, but the more little things you can start peeling off your system and start eating healthier. And a lot of people I'm finding don't even know how to eat healthy. They're like, well, I had a salad from McDonald's. That's healthier. No, it doesn't count. Go on YouTube, get a salad, get some kale, make your own and buy organic. And we just don't have enough time to get into all that stuff and diets, but my friend runs a great school. It's called Natural Cookery. If you go on naturalcookery.com, it's a whole little online school. You can either become a chef or just do the school. She teaches you intuitively how to make wholesome food and what different foods do, like root vegetables are more for keeping you grounded, and how to prepare food. So by the end of the process, you can cook completely on your own, and the contents of the food, what they do for you, what ginger does for you, what all these things do for you. So it's a wonderful resource that gosh, I was just like thrilled. This is what people need. So if you don't know, that's a great place to go, naturalcookery.com, and you can sign up for her class. But now is the time. This is the biggest thing I can say that I have found that they are not talking about with this whole COVID is the whole immune system. What can I do to boost my immune system? We're talking about masks. We're talking about washing your hands. We are completely circumventing what are vitamins going to do for me. They're finally starting to talk a little bit about vitamin D, but we're kind of that's not, they don't want to show that too much, but the studies are showing, decreased vitamin D levels predispose you to COVID, and they've found that in patients and that are deep, they have low vitamin D levels are more predisposed to having complications with COVID or getting COVID or even passing away from COVID. So vitamin D is huge. Vitamin D acts as a steroid. It acts as a hormone. It is huge. And actually, it's more of a steroid and hormone than even a vitamin. But we'll just call it a vitamin since that's how people identify with it. But that's vitamin D is huge, huge, huge. And nobody's talking about this. Nobody's telling you vitamin, gosh, I don't know what's going on inside my house here. Vitamin C levels, vitamin D levels, all these things. What else can I take to boost my immune system versus just wearing a mask and washing my hands and keeping a 6-foot distance? Nobody's talking about that.
And I also just want to chime in with the vitamin D. With the vitamin D, I heard that they're not all created equal, that you need to find a vitamin D with the K2.
Correct.
Okay.
There's one nuance with that though. If you already have COVID and you're starting to do vitamin D, do vitamin D3, but not with K2. And I'll tell you why. Because with the K2, it's going to create more clotting in your body. Vitamin K increases clotting. So if you have COPD or if you have lung conditions, obviously we've heard that it's the clots that end up killing somebody. So if you have a lot of these pulmonary lung issues, for now, I'd probably stick with the vitamin D3. If you're super healthy, you're young, you're super healthy, you have no issues, you've been checked, then vitamin D3 with K2, yes, is how you want to take it.
Okay. Wow. Thank you so much, because you're just a wealth of knowledge. I love so much. And I don't want to keep you too long because I'm so grateful that you've shared so much wisdom.
Oh, this is fun. It's fun. Yeah. But this is, guys, now's the time. I know, and I hope people hear this message and at least it plants a seed to say, and if you don't know where to start, reach out to one of us. RaNae has wonderful nutraceuticals that she uses that are a great place to start cleaning up the body. And I can help wherever I can. I'm just here to serve and support whoever needs help. And maybe the next topic really is to talk about depression and anxiety, because that's at an all-time high.
Let's talk about
that. Because people are at home. It's creating so much anxiety now. And the psychologists, psychiatrists, licensed social workers, all these people are getting overwhelmed. And I feel like we're passing out even more antidepressants. But antidepressants is a whole other topic. I will tell you, they all have black box warning. I've looked at almost every single one that's come through my door. I've looked them up. A black box warning means that there's been enough studies on this medication that it is dangerous. And I have a little share on a client that I just worked with. We've been working for 5 months. She had a lot of issues. She had diabetes, all these things. She was on 3 antidepressants. We gradually pulled her off. She shared with me yesterday, she said, we are off of all of them. We've supplemented something natural. She's not even using that now. But she said, when I was using the antidepressants, I was still having suicidal thoughts. And I'm like, oof. Yeah. And she says, Dr. K, I no longer have suicidal thoughts. And I had no idea how this was implicating me. This was a huge win. Huge. She was getting brain zaps. She's like, every time I tried to go off the antidepressants, it was getting these twitches, and she described them as zaps in her brain. So she kept trying, so she'd go back on them. She's like, because I couldn't get rid of the brain zaps. I'm like, I won't list her name, but I told my client, hey, just hang in there. Let's introduce this natural item underneath. Let's gradually, because you can never pull antidepressants. You can't, that's not something you can just stop. You have to gradually taper them off over the course of a couple of weeks. We've got her off of all of them. She's like, I don't have suicidal thoughts anymore.
That is amazing.
Huge win. Huge.
My whole body, when you said that, I was getting chills, and not only that, like the chills, like, oh my gosh, we have to like get that word out.
We have
And
to discuss antidepressants.
we will get let's do that as soon as possible. As soon as you
Yeah,
have more
yeah,
time available, we'll schedule that. And
yeah. That's next
but
topic.
we're going to keep going with these so that we can start to help as many people, even if we just touch one person. It'll be worth it.
Yeah. So definitely, guys, now really is the time. And if you're like, I don't know how to cook, try thenaturalcookery.com. You can put my name in as a referral, Dr. Adriana Krywiak, because Juliana, who runs this, if you put my name, she knows who I am. So she'll reach out to me and she'll probably give you some extra care. I mean, I don't get perks or anything. I just try to help people. And I talked to Juliana for a long time. Gosh, what is she? She's like 58. She's been doing this for a long time. She's a chef. She knows how to run these things and teach people how to do the food thing. And so by the end of by the end of the program, and I don't think it takes very long, you'll know how to prepare food. So if you're really confused, like, well, eat healthy. Well, I don't know. Most people throw their hands up in the air. I don't know. I'll just have a salad. Not quite. Let's give you the superfoods. And I have plenty of connections to other friends that, if you don't know about superfoods, can help you with that. Everybody now works virtually. So I can get you connected to people that will help you clean that body. My other friend, this is all she does now, and she's healed her thyroid just by using the superfoods. So it's all doable. It is all doable, but you got to show up and you got to be consistent. And I'm not going to say it's going to be super easy. You'll hang in for a couple of weeks, and I promise you, it will get better, and you'll feel better, and it will become a routine for you, and you'll be amazed at the changes that can happen.
Absolutely. When you start to clean up your body, you do
Oh,
start to feel a million times better and totally different. And
yeah,
wow. So
hands down.
tell them again where they can reach you, or you're on LinkedIn, Facebook. We both are.
Yeah,
Um,
we're both on Facebook.
and your
Yeah.
website.
Oh, my website is www.ihmohio.com. ihmohio.com. What is my Facebook name? I think it's at Dr. Adriana Adriana Doctor. So it's ADRIANADR. All one. There's no spaces. ADRIANADR at ADRIANA Doctor. So yeah, and if you look up integrative health management, you'll find it that way as well. If you go obviously on my website, you can click on the little Facebook icon there and it'll take you to it. I do a lot of Facebook Live videos with little tips. I do a health tidbit Thursday and all sorts of little things, tricks that you can do to educate people better, because I get it. Some of us just we don't know where to start. That was always my biggest when I started. And guys, I used to eat Burger King. I used to eat that stuff all the time. And my stomach
Good, I'm not
got
gonna
so
lie.
sick. I'm not going to lie. I was eating tuna helper and I can't even tell you the crap I was eating. And then my stomach started feeling, this is where I stopped eating Burger King, because every time I ate Burger King, my stomach got so upset and I was like, I felt nauseous and I was like, oh man, all right, no more Burger King. And then I switched to like Wendy's and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have chili and a baked potato, okay, maybe a little bit of an upgrade. And then I was like, okay. And then I started learning what's in it and I was like, oh boy, okay, I think we're gonna stop this. And then I started bodybuilding. And so that all changed, there.
Into bodybuilding. Yes.
Yeah.
And
So,
that would transition. And I know it's
yep.
been probably about maybe now 2 years, 3 years.
Oh, my transition's been 7 to 8 years, 9, actually, more.
When when you started to do shows.
When 7 years ago.
Wow.
7 years ago. It's been a long time. But even before that, little by little, I started hanging out with my friends who were bodybuilders, and they're like, what are you eating? And I'm like, tuna helper. And they're like, I'm like, okay, what should I be eating? And they're like, oatmeal, chicken, rice. And I'm like, okay. So I upgraded to a little sugary oatmeal and a slice of, or piece of chicken, a baked chicken that I actually got the chicken, and some bagged rice, and I put a broccoli. So I upgrade. So it's been a long transition for me to the point now that I eat 1 ingredient items. That's not to say I don't treat myself. You will fall off the wagon if you try to cold turkey this. But if you can just start to use more one ingredient items, by one ingredient items, I mean nothing out of a can, nothing out of a box, nothing out of a bag. So you buy your sweet potatoes, you can use herbs, you can use cilantro, whatever you want on this. You buy salads, you buy asparagus, you buy cucumbers, you buy spinach, all these things. And those are one ingredient. Your chicken, your beef, if grass-fed beef, if you're like organic chicken. And these are what's called one ingredient items, meaning they don't have processed crap in them. So get rid of a lot of the processed stuff and you're going to feel so much better over the course of 21 days. I promise. Even 10 days, even 10 days.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you again so much.
Thank
I
you.
hope
This was fun.
yes, yes, I appreciate you so much, and it's just a blessing.
And I appreciate you and for doing this for everybody and for getting the word out. Guys, we'll have more and hope that this is helpful for even one person, we are here to help as many people as we can. Now is the time. We are in need now more than ever
Yes.
on so many levels, emotionally, physically, spiritually. So we'll have more to come and help on all these avenues. And RaNae, is there, if somebody wants to discuss a certain topic, is there a way to reach out to you? Like, could you guys discuss this or that, or no? Or this is
Absolutely. On Facebook, you can actually go to our Facebook business page. It's Nutraceutical News, and that's NutraCeuticals News. And you can send a message directly through that business page, and or I'll probably put a link. But if you have any information that you want to contact me about, they can always reach me at RaNae360.com, and that's all my social medias and my business page.
Yeah, please reach out to RaNae if there's a topic like, could you guys talk about this? Or I'm kind of really stuck. Don't be shy. Really don't be shy. Just
No.
say, hey, I would love to hear more about XYZ. I would love to hear more about nutrients. We both have a lot of information. We're happy to discuss any kind of topic that you are struggling with and you feel you need more help with, and nobody's talking to you about, or you're getting frustrated somewhere in your healthcare journey. Please reach out. And both of us have a ton of resources of people we can bring in to help you if we don't have the answers.
Absolutely.
And we can get you the help that you need so you can make that change and feel amazing in your life, because that's what we want for everybody to feel the way we do, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you. Once again, this is RaNae. I'm RaNae, and this is the Real Rich Revolution on Real Revolution Radio. I'm the author of the book From Steel Toes to Stilettos. Thank you so much for following us today, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a great
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.